Hey guys, so we are back at it with another video. I do want to say first off, thank you for all the positive feedback on the previous video. We did have that little setback with that being flagged, trying to post the 10x challenge. I really think it was probably due to showing the casino's name, which I probably should have blurred out. But I'm gonna go ahead and just wait until that warning expires, and I'm gonna try it out again. In the meantime, I do have a couple ideas how I could go about it. I could continue to do that on the back and create some private videos, post that link in the description, and then you guys could go ahead and view it that way. It wouldn't be on YouTube. It would probably end up being on Discord. I was thinking about putting it on another platform that allows that kind of stuff. So in the meantime, if that's something you're interested, just let me know in the comments and I could continue that 10x challenge. I just don't want to risk the channel. So with that being said, we are jumping into another testing video today. I'm going to go a little deeper today. I'm going to show you kind of my process, how I figure out what is working, how to refactor my bankroll, and I'm gonna explain it a little bit. I do have very detailed information, and the links will be in the description down below. So if you're interested in how we really use this way of playing to continuously grow the bankroll while reducing the risk, is down in the description below. Click those links if you have not yet. I'll send an email to you and you have your own private videos. You could view it. So with that being said, I'm going to pull over my Google Doc sheet. All right. Pulling this up so you can see this is my personal sheet. This is what I use to figure out, okay, what's working, what's not working, where are those thresholds. All right, so this is what I do with this is I have the title as strategy refactored bankroll. What does that mean? That means that I want to see the volatility of these strategies one by one. I'm also stacking strategies. So you can see right here, all the highlighted stuff. This is what I feel comfortable with, right? And so I was thinking, so like right here, I will predetermine and test a profit goal. So I have this profit goal kind of low, 10%, stop loss at 20%. And then you can see a ton of testing, right? And then I highlight all the green. So green just means good to go, something I'm comfortable with using personally. And so I'm going to show you something because I was thinking about this a little in depth. So you can see this one right here, Viper Inside Slices version 2. So I got a stop loss I set right here at 50%, right? So I'm thinking, okay, usually I like that stop loss very tight. I keep it on a short leash. That way I don't lose too much. And then I could recoup that in the upcoming sessions, right? Just have that set stop loss and knowing that, okay, it's just a bad day, bad spins are coming out. Well, here's the difference now. Some of these strategies require a longer leash. As some of you guys know, a lot of them will take a dip and then they'll come back and just boom, just shoot you through the roof to the moon in profit, right? This is one of those strategies because what it's doing is this is a single number strategy, but it's covering a section of the wheel, kind of the idea I'm running with on the other channel where I that's the New York pizza slices. You have those two big landing zones. And the idea behind that is because I've been putting some data sets into AI and it just is giving me the same information throughout all these data sets. And that's for some reason, they are landing there more frequently. Well, I should say it this way. They are missing less. So the amount of misses in between just picking 24 random numbers versus picking those two sections, right? That is basically making the misses shorten, right? It's usually about like a 1 to 3 difference, meaning like, let's say that data set on the first group of random numbers, it's 7 misses. Then when I put the groups in, right, the same 24 numbers, but with the larger zones, the misses are going to be shorter, typically 4 to 5. So that's the idea about grouping these numbers, and that's why we play this way. But also, this is something that we just implemented. This is version 2. So this is something I'm still playing around with, trying to figure out where's that threshold. So you can see on this line, I did a 5 slice, right? So 5 was the grouping, and then I multiplied that by 4. So I had 5 sections throughout the wheel that were in groups of 5. And then I keep track of the progressions to see what's working. This one made $213 in profit. This was a 6 slice times 2, so the total number of 12. And this one made 189. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run 10 today. I think 10's a good, just based on analysis that I'm getting from AI, this is a good number to try. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do inside slices. We're going to keep the bankroll at 100. We're doing dollar units. And I'm going to hold off on the configuration notes because if it's not good, I'm not going to save it. Okay. The stop loss here. Interesting. Okay. Like I said, some of these need longer leashes. I think this is one of them. So I'm just going to do a 100 spin test. And then after I see that, you could see right here on this column, there's going to be a down draw. I'm going to keep log of that. And then I'm going to average out that down draw. Then that's going to give me a more accurate stop loss versus kind of just guessing and putting that in manually and just being like, oh, I think a 30% is good. Well, that might not be the case. So let's just go ahead and let's get this screen out of the way and then we will start the test. I'm going to probably end up doing the testing process is a lot quicker now. So I have an option just to go in test mode and then it just shortens the process. So let's go ahead and set this. I do have it set up already, so we could just jump right into it. I'm going to pull up the configurations and let's make sure they are set at 10. All right, so I'm going to run with hot slices. I'm doing custom 3. Custom 3 is just a custom progression I put in to see if it's going to work with that one. That's also something very important to bring up because if I'm running 5 slices, right, like a 5 number group, the progression will be different versus 10, 15, or whatever you decide to roll with. So today I'm going to go custom 3 and I'm going to scroll down here so you can see right here, this is the progression, okay? These are all single number coverage. I'm going to enable hot slicing. I'm not doing cold slicing. I found out through testing, hot slices they just win more, right? There's some kind of bias, whether it's on the dealer or it's just some kind of wheel bias, but they tend to land in groups and like in those hot sections, more often. So I'm going to set that at 10. Everything else is going to be pretty generic and these are all default settings. So I'm going to keep it there. Really, the thing I'm highlighting is we're running 10 groups, 10 number groups, okay? So that's activated. Let's pull up the back test. Here's a cool new feature that the professor ended up implementing. I could just preset a number. So I want 100 spins. Well, actually, I'm going to set this to 120 because there's a 20 spin warm up, right? Giving 20 spins for it to warm up, see where the hot slices are on that table and go with the hottest section, okay? So I'm putting in 120 to stop, but it's actually going to not kick in the bet until that 20th spin, if that makes sense, okay? Let's choose a file. Let's pick a random file. And that's in there. So let's go ahead and pull the visualizations up and we will start. Okay, something else that's very cool I just want to talk about. We are in early beta stage, but we are developing a strategy builder. What does that mean? That means you just basically can make your own strategy, something I'm very, very excited for. I know that's going to be a game changer because not only can you, are we at the right? Okay, so it finally kicked in, right? I could pull, okay, we got visuals on just so we could watch. So this one's dipping down pretty low, right? Very low, got a hit. So start off super bad. But again, this is going to kind of tell us like where that leash needs to be, what length it needs to be. So we are at so we're going to stop at 120 on this one. We haven't been in any profit. We finally got a good hit, finally in profit. This could just be a bad data set, and that happens. But this is why we do this testing process. We're trying to figure out that threshold. All right, so entire time we've been low. We've only spiked up to 26 bucks. So let's see where we end. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up so we could just get through this test. So I turn off the visuals and that just speeds up the process. All right. Again, high is still only 26. This could be a bad run. That's okay. That's why we test. All right, finally in profit. Okay, now it's back in profit. Now it just shot up to 131.46 is the high. 224. So that must have just been super ugly numbers, but it did withstand the test. Okay, so we got 120 tests, so it's actually 100 spins. Back test stops automatically because we have a preset number. Beautiful. That helps everyone. I could have got up, used the restroom, came back. No issues. Okay. That being said, let's go ahead and see. Right here, we got 31 losses to 69. 31 wins to 69 losses. I am going to log that. 31.69. Okay. And let's go ahead and stop this. So we peaked out at $288. 288 was session high. And let me just do some math real quick. We got Oh, I'm sorry. I said we're doing $100. The bankroll set for this is $1,000. This is just to figure out that leash where it should be, where it should have a true stop loss point. Because you could see it did dip down minus into the bankroll, and we hit a low of $686. So I'm gonna subtract 686. So it dipped down minus 314. That was the low. 314. Okay. And just pull it over just so you see what I'm doing. Okay, so we're tracking that the win loss. We're also tracking the down draw. So the lowest it went was minus 314. We got profit loss. I'm tracking the high. Okay. And then at the end, I'm going to go ahead and average these out. I just want to show you that. I'm not going to show you every time until the end. I just want to be transparent. So let's go ahead and move that out of the way. Let's run test number 2. Okay. So we are going to start another session. Boom. Same thing. But instead, we already preloaded. Well, actually, I think it's gonna do it again because I stopped that. Let's see. Let's just put 120. All right, and we start. Okay, see, yeah, it already had the previous spins preloaded, so it started betting right away. So I'll just stop it at 100. Actually, let me just pause. Let me readjust. This should still stop it at 100. Okay, unpause. All right, I'm keeping visuals off just so I could speed through the test, but I could click it on. You can see I could click, and you can see the bet placement. It's going to follow that progression. It just runs in turbo mode once the visuals are off. So right now we peaked out at 232. So this one is better. This is running a lot better than the first one. The first one dipped low and stayed relatively low for a while. All right, so 344 is the session high so far. That's pretty good. Again, this is what's very important because like I said earlier, this is something that needs to be refactored. Some strategies won't go that low. So you can set that at like 10%, 15%, maybe 20%. It would make sense with like a higher coverage strategy. Something like this needs a little bit more room to come back. And you could see right here, it stopped automatically for us. Let's go ahead and see what's going on with this one. Definitely a better run, a lot better run. Okay, so and what's crazy here too, I'm looking at the wins and the losses. The wins and the losses are similar. But again, those wins and losses, it just depends on where those losses happen, right? If they're happening at a higher bet, you're gonna lose bigger chunks of money. So let's go. We're 29.70 on the losses. Let's go ahead and stop the session so we can see our stats. Significantly better from the first one. Session high on this one was 474. Okay, we did end at 420, my favorite number. I just had to bring that up for you guys. And then I'm going to go $1,000 just to make sure my math is correct. And I'm going to subtract I know that's simple for many of you guys, but I just want to be sure. 202 is the lowest we went on here. Okay, so 202. Now, we are going to go and do another test. So let's go ahead and start. We're going to keep that logged in there so we don't have to wait for it to load up those 20 spins for the warm-up. And let's go ahead and make sure this is reset. Again, we're going to keep this at 100 because we already have the number set in. All right, so next test, jump in. You can see bet starts right away. Another 100 spins for this one. I'm gonna run 5 tests just to show you what I mean on refactoring the bankroll size. Okay, because I think I was strong arming it. I was putting too short of a leash on this one specifically, so it didn't really allow it to come back and maximize profit. And that's really why I want to show you in more detail, like my testing process. This is something you guys could do too. I did mention that strategy builder, which is great because I know many of you guys have great ideas. You guys see a bunch of videos on YouTube, and a lot of these videos on YouTube, great. A lot of them bad, but there are some worth taking a second look into. And I know you guys come up with some great ideas as well. That's awesome because you could, once we're releasing the software in a few weeks, guys. We are right around the corner. So if you are interested, click down on those links down below and give me what it's going to do is prompt the email. I'm going to send that information to you. And then if you're interested, we are going to push out a very good deal for all new potential members. Okay, this is a limited deal. This is something that's going to be 30 days. We're not sure if it's going to be exactly 30 days or we're going to do the first 100 subscribers for the deal. After that, we're closing it. And then we're going to go ahead and it's going to be full price. So we are going to offer a very good deal. You'll get more information in the description below. You'll see all that stuff. Back to the testing. That one stopped. This one did the best so far. So let's go ahead and see the win-loss. So win-loss, very similar. That is eerily strange. Okay, very similar. So 30 to 69. And we capped out. Let's see where we capped out. Let me stop this for you guys. All right, 630 bucks. Amazing. 630 bucks. This is the best one so far. And then 820, that's easy math, right? Okay, that's going to be 180. We dipped down negative 180. So the highest profit and the lowest bankroll used so far on session number 3. Let's run 2 more. And then again, at the end, we will go over the results. I'm going to go ahead and average everything out right in front of you guys so you can see the process and what I do. So let's go ahead and start another session. It's going to be session number 4. And make sure that's good to go. Again, keeping it at 100. Start again. Keeping visuals off just to speed through these tests. And let me get a drink of my coffee. It's morning time where I am, and it's already, 107 degrees out there. That's why I stay inside. I don't recommend living in a desert. It's too hot. All right, so far so good. So if this ends up good, I'm gonna run 2 more, of course. We might get a bust. We don't know. And we're gonna just get averages. That's what we're looking for. And this is something great too. Like if you have time, see, I don't have a ton of time because I'm working on the software. I still have my full-time job. So I try to test as much as possible. I do want to share this with you guys. I know a lot of the Nest members have been putting a ton of work in. They have a little bit more time, and they're finding some good stuff. There's some good stacks that they're finding. There's some good configurations that they're finding. And that's what it's all about, because this one strategy, this could literally be endless possibilities, right? This is one strategy. Just the idea is basic, right? You're just covering groups of numbers where there's no gaps, right? You're just playing groups of numbers. But the thing is, changing every group sizing and then playing multiple group sizing can actually turn this into so many different strategies, right? And then also the option that custom, those aren't presets. I could go out there and punch in my own custom numbers or for the progression, right? So if you want to do a little bit of math and work out your own custom progression, you can do that as well. And then of course you back test it, log all this information, and then you'll be able to use it with the software. Okay, so let's end this one. Let's stop. That's 100 spins on this one, and very similar. That's eerie. I don't know if that's a bug, but these are different data sets because they're obviously giving us different results. Okay, so again, 30, 69. and stop this. Okay, that's strange. These are the exact same numbers from the last one. I'm going to dismiss this one. I think it just cycled through that. I think it just recycled through that same data set. So skip this. Sorry. Everything's posted, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm just being transparent. There must have been something going on with that one. I'm going to restart everything. So that one is dismissed because that was the same exact numbers and information as the last. So let me go ahead and clear this out. We're going to start another session. We are going to activate Inside Slices version 2. Configurations are the same. And let's go ahead and just select a different file. So that was 17. Let's go with 15. And yeah, 100 on this one. Sorry, guys. There's going to be a little setback on that one, but make sure that's activated and we start. Okay, let me stop real quick because we started and we cleared out those numbers. So let me restart this again because it has to warm up with 20 numbers to figure out what hot selection it's going to make. All right, it's doing the thinking for you. So I don't know why I clicked on configurations. Everything's set up the same. And we will go. Okay, everything's good. The only thing I'm changing here is 120. Again, we have 20 warm-up spins. That's why I'm starting with 120. And let's start. So it's going to basically just run through 20 spins, like I said earlier, before it starts betting. All right. Sorry, you could probably hear that. I got a squeaky chair. I need a little bit of WD-40. All right. So of course, I didn't track that last one. So we still need to do 2 more tests. And all right, so this one's starting off okay. We're capped out at, we peaked at 88 so far. 94 is the high. So interested in averaging these out. I think this is good. This is actually good for the Viperness. So any of you Inner Circle members checking this out, ideally this would be best to run like if you're running like 20, 30, 40 or more sessions, like in small groups like this, 5 to 10. One good thing to do to get like a true, like there's going to be some outliers, right? Outliers mean there's going to be some that just bust very early, very quick. There's also going to be some that just win very early, very quick. Obviously a true average would be to include all those outliers, but to change that average to refactor your bankroll size, because you're trying to figure out what's normal, right? Outliers aren't normal. That's why they call them outliers. So if you let's say you have an outlier like that swings and there's one bust within that grouping, and then there's one that just goes skyrocket and makes a ton of money more than the average. If you take those out and then you average the rest, that gives you even a finer tune to refactoring your bankroll size. But I'll talk a little bit more on that on the end. Let me go ahead and stop this. And we did produce different numbers. So let's see, 3169. Let's stop this. 3169 was the losses. And then we dipped down. Oh, we dipped down very low. Okay. So what is that? That's going to be not 20. That's going to be 116 minus 116. And then we got, what do we got? A high of 688. So that's the highest so far. So 10 slices is working great so far. Okay. So let's go ahead and continue. We're going to start another session. Okay, let's activate V2. Same configurations. Again, we're testing that 10 slice deal, and we already have some preloaded, so let's keep those there. 100 spins, and we start. Okay. So right now we have not had a bust yet, but the first test that we ran was the lowest profit. Again, you remember that it was mostly in the negative the whole time, but that patience did pay off and it came back and it came back and peaked out at 288. That was the lowest. The highest was the last test at 688. But again, we are doing this to figure out where we should resize our bankroll. And that really depends, right? So we're going to go off averages. I'm doing this and I'm just trying to figure out where that leash should be set at. And once I figure that out, then I kind of get a better idea, because you can see, like, look at this one. This one's similar to that first test. It's low in the bankroll. This is test number 5. Let's see how this one ends, because right now it seems to be struggling. And it did end in the negative. So let's go ahead and log this. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so different results on the wins. So a little bit less wins, 27, and then we got 72 losses. And let's go ahead and stop this and track down draw. Down draw is the lowest, right? We went minus $510. The lowest so far, also the lowest profit. The profit was only $72. We're going to log that. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm going to slide this over and I'm going to do this right in front of you guys. All right, so what I'm looking for, this, let me update this. This is Slices version 2. I'm going to go ahead and do hot slice, and we did 10 numbers, right? This is a 10 number group. All right, so this is how I calculate. So profit average, I click here in this cell, equal sign, type in average, left parentheses, and then all I got to do is just highlight, click enter. Okay, so the average profit on those 5 runs, right? So we had this low one, we had this high one. The average is $430 a session. That's the average. Okay, here's something cool. Down draw, same thing. We're going to average out the down draw. Click on the cell, same thing. Equal sign, average. It doesn't have to be all caps. Just what I have my what I have it set to. Enter. All right, so average down draw. So on average, even with this big one, we went minus 264. So before I move on to calculate, actually, let me just calculate how much we won over this. Okay. So over these 5 sessions, now I'm going to calculate the sum. So let's say we truly played this 5 sessions, right? What we're going to do is calculate how much we made total off those 5 sessions. Okay, you can see there's none that lost money. So let's go, and these, of course, these are calculated off the highs, but all of them did end, well, except for that one. Hold on, let me go back. So to truly figure out how much you won, it would just depend where you stop, right? So I guess I can't truly calculate that. But let's say hypothetically you stopped near or at the session high. This is what you're expected to take home. So let's go equals, and let's go sum, and then we're going to go here. So this is going to be skewed, right? So if you stopped at the high point, which is going to be hard to do because you don't know where the high point is, you would have basically walked away with a little over $2,000. But I mean, even if you go off the average, right? Let's go off the average, 430. What's 430? If that's just like the average, we're going to go 430, and then we're going to multiply that by 5 sessions. Same number. Okay, so you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so with that being said, that's the averages. And this right here is the one I want to highlight. This to me is a good session. Of course, I use dollar units and I let it run to figure out where we should refactor that bankroll. So what is this telling me? 264. That's the average. So you could build a little bit more cushion. I know many of you guys are used to using $500, $1,000, $2,000 bankrolls. Do you see where I think that's unnecessary? I think that's unnecessary because I know this is a small sample size. I understand that. But let's say we did run 20 or 30, got a bigger sample size, and it came out to this number. That's going to tell me this is ideal. Because if it passes anything higher than this, you could still give it some wiggle room and just for round number sake, let it go to 300. But you could see there's only twice that it went over 300. So the majority of the time it was at 200 or lower that it actually used that amount of bankroll. So comfortably, maybe set it at $300. If you want to run it aggressive like this, set it at $300. Anything higher than that is going to be an outlier. So that's going to be that red flag. Like, okay, this is just not the night. Those numbers are not coming out. Save yourself some headache and some heartbreak and just check out there, because you could see per session average, you can make that up the next session. If you see, does that make sense? Because this one is something that requires a little bit more leash, because you've seen a couple times, especially in these two, the first and the last one, they did need some wiggle room to come back. This one never had a chance to come back, but who knows, if I had more spins or if I gave it more spins, it might have came back, right? So with that being said, let me know what you guys think about this. This is something you can make custom progressions depending on the slice size. This was a 10 slice deal. I did do, this was an interesting one too. So I did stack the inside slices. This is DS Partners. This is a part double street system, and it covers all double streets. I know they don't allow that in the brick and mortar casinos, but actually most of the online casinos, I'm pretty sure they all allow you to play all the double streets. That's why I tested. So that one played out pretty good, and you can see I keep all notes. And then some of them, they don't play out that good, but I keep track of everything. I average out everything, right? This is average session win. It's very low, but you could see my goal is also very low, right? And that coincides on what I show in those videos in the description down below. Is when you get up and get out of the casino, the quicker you could get to that profit goal and leave, the better. That's swinging those odds into your favor. That's how these pros continuously make money and continuously make a living off this. They're using larger unit sizes, but the idea is not to be running these long tests trying to get a bunch of money and get a bunch of profit in one session. They're not trying to do that. They understand the odds that there's no system out there that's going to win 100% of the time. So the idea is they want to get up, hit that lower mark, and hit that lower mark more consecutively, more often throughout multiple sessions. So this balances out. So you can see these are low profit wins, right? A lot of you guys might be like, that sucks. Well, it might suck because I'm only using 50-cent unit sizes. Then you change the unit sizes. What if I'm using $1, $5, or $10? These would be drastically bigger. But of course, you won't be able to use that until the bankroll continues to grow. And as it grows, then you readjust that unit size where it makes sense. And then later on, 20%, you're not going to be shooting for that. You're actually going to be shooting for 1 to 3%. And you're like, oh, that doesn't make a lot of money. Yeah, when your bankroll is super high, believe you me, it makes money, okay? And you can see the balance right here. So of course, this is a higher coverage, so it's going to hit a lot more often. But I had the leash at 30%. And of course, some of them leaked over just depending on where I lost that. Like this one was 38. That's one, but I call it a bust, but it's not a true bust because I'm not risking my entire bankroll. I have that stop loss in place. So I got 1, 2, 3 where I stopped. And what's that? A total of like 30. It's like a little over $100, right? But then you average that out and I'm still up in profit. That's the powerful thing. I'm still up in profit. Even though I took these temporary setbacks, right? Overall, through all these sessions, I'm still up in profit. That's what's important. That's why I think this refactoring of your bankroll is very key in playing, and it's going to help a lot of people out. All right, the math is mathing is what the professor likes to say. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna go. I know it's a longer video. I did want to give you a little bit more detailed dive into it. I'm gonna show you some more stacks and some more information on what I'm playing and how I'm playing it. Something again I want to mention. that strategy builder is going to be massive, right? Even if you just get the base level plan that we have offered when we launch, I mean, you could do so much just with the back testing feature. Okay. And then now that we're working on a strategy builder, being able to customize your own strategy along with what kind of configurations you want. Let's pull up the configuration screen again for just real quick and then we'll close out the video. Okay. Let's go and see what kind of options we got. So we are going to start one just so I can pull up that configuration. And if you're still watching, I appreciate you guys. I really do, man. Um, I got nervous when I got that flag, but it was just a warning. They gave me 90 days. After that, it's going to be all gravy. So inside slices, this one's more complex. I'm not going to dive into all the details, but this is what is possible, right? Pull this up for you guys to see. All right. Hot slices, you could choose to run both hot and cold with this. So you could see how much flexibility this gives you along with these. These are all presets, right? But you could go in here and I could punch in my own custom progression. So let's say I did some math and I think 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, or 8, 10, 12. Maybe I think that's the best one. I could continue that, make the progression as long as I want. I could enable, disable. I could run 2 consecutive hot slices. I could pick the size, of course, up to 36. That's not going to make you any money. That's very risky. But you can get aggressive with this, and play around with all the, look at all these configurations. You could, active rounds, minimum active rounds. You could have it hold out where you want. Step back levels, maybe the progression is getting uncomfortably high. That's something. This is all stuff you would be able to add in the strategy builder. All right, and then you could just make it how you want. If you want to just do outside bets, inside bets, split bets, whatever you want. Very exciting stuff coming ahead. That being said, I'm gonna wrap up the video, and again, till next time, guys. Be cool, stay cool, peace.